Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Wow, I'm so excited. I really love you. Really, thank you
Oh,
for doing.
our unconditional love to you as well.
Thank you. I want to ask you about the experience I had while I was meditating about a place in South Korea, Jeju Island. I felt connected to it. I saw it on TV, and I wanted to visit there in my meditation. And I saw a being who accompanied me. That was a woman of octopus and a body of a woman, and she was bluish. She didn't talk to me. She just went with me everywhere where I went. And there was when we went to the water, and I felt she wanted to teach me how to breathe in the water. I don't know what the meaning of it. Can you give me more information?
Well, you are experiencing a combination symbol of things that represent different vibrations that are connected to the ocean because of your connection to the star system of Sirius. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
But what you're dealing with are elemental beings in nature that are connected to the idea of the sea, presenting you with a multiple combination being in your meditation to represent the different relationships and aspects of the ocean and the beings within it that you are most strongly experiencing. So
And
look at
why
it
was it important?
symbolically. Look at it symbolically for what the different aspects of that being represent to you. For example, the idea of the octopus not only represents an extraterrestrial connection because octopods belong to a different reality, even though they are also projecting themselves into yours, but also the idea of the eightfold way, the eight branches, like a web stretching out so that you can experience more of your connections to different things on your planet and other planets as well. The woman, of course, the aspect of your femininity that allows you to dive deeply into your emotional being, to understand how to hold on to or let go of belief systems that do and don't work for you. And there are other symbols there for you as well. You have to ask yourself what these different aspects represent to you. And you will have a deeper understanding of why those aspects were reflected to you. Does that help?
Yes, but I don't understand why she wanted to teach me about breathing in the water. What does it gives me?
It's the idea again of the ocean standing for a deep dive into your consciousness and how to allow yourself to be more naturally connected to your deeper self, your higher self, and how to breathe in a new reality. Also, dealing with a spirit, it's like the idea that many times when people on your planet connect to spirits, the air around them may feel like they're attempting to breathe water. So she's, in a sense, helping you understand how to breathe in a new reality, breathe at a new level of experience, breathe in the new vibration, and make it as real as the idea of the air you breathe. Make it as natural to dive into those other dimensions, other realms, other ideas of yourself, as natural as breathing the air in the reality that you're familiar with. So, teaching you how to breathe underwater doesn't necessarily mean that literally. It means teaching you how to exist and thrive in a new reality, a new level, a reality that contains more information for you, more connections for you, to breathe it all in.
Yes, I
Yes?
understand it.
All
Yes,
right. All
thank
right.
you. It helps.
Yes, yes.
I want to ask you about the soul. You said that when we die, then our focus becomes the soul of this lifetime physical life that we had, the soul that connected to the life that we had. But
Yes.
now, if the soul want to choose new a so-called new life,
Yes.
then does she split herself and
No, that
focus
soul
becomes the new
experiences.
soul?
No, a soul experiences a new life. There's a new soul. You have to understand that you're also experiencing this from a higher level. So think of it as an oversoul that has many different soul individual extensions, and each of those extensions can experience a different life. So you're looking at something linearly that actually takes place on a nonlinear level. So you're not splitting, it's just that you're coming from the higher level of the oversoul that already has many, many different individual soul extensions through which it can experience individual lives, all existing at the same time. even though from your experience it seems as if they're happening one after another. But that's an illusion of physical reality.
So if I die and then I feel that I am is this soul for this life. So what does my focus change? Like, how do I know who am I? Like, maybe one day I'll say, okay, I'm the oversoul, and I feel like I'm the oversoul, and now I want to be this specific soul. Does my focus change all the time?
In a sense, yes. Let me give you an analogy with a human hand. The hand, the whole hand, is the oversoul. Here's a life, here's a life, here's a life, here's a life, here's a life. Individual soul, individual soul, individual soul, individual soul, individual soul. All the fingers exist at the same time for the hand. So this never becomes this. This finger never becomes this finger. This finger never becomes this finger. But if you look at it from a linear perspective, you can say, oh, I'm looking at this finger now, my focus is on this finger now, my focus is here, my focus is here. But they all exist and all extend from the hand. So it depends on whether you're looking from the perspective of the oversoul or whether you're looking from the perspective of an individual finger. But yes, it's all about changing your focus constantly in order to have different kinds of experiences. Linear ones from the finger's point of view, or simultaneous ones from the hand's point of view. Does that help?
I just think it's so confusing to know who am I. Like,
you are all that is.
But it's so many things.
Yes, that's what all that is. All that is all the things in existence, all of them. So that could be said from your point of view to be the ultimate level. But you can experience yourself in a way that is like you are not all that is. You can experience different portions of all that is. So you are always constantly dynamically changing your focus, but your focus also exists in all of those places simultaneously. I understand that to a linear perspective that can seem somewhat confusing, but you're constantly shifting your focus and doing so more often than not as you expand your consciousness, so that when you say, I'm experiencing this or I'm experiencing that, the I that you are referring to can actually be different levels of yourself from time to time. So you have to know which I you're talking about when you describe a particular experience.
So when the people die and they know that now their energy, they're not confused, they understand it all.
Yes.
The moment they die, they understand, they feel the connection.
Well, it depends on what you feel you need to go through the moment you die. You may experience different things that don't necessarily allow you to experience all that knowledge, but eventually you'll get to the point sooner or later where you understand it.
Okay. And when you say that, when we're talking to you, we're talking to our higher mind and using you as a permission slip, but you're your own individual, so why would you speak as my higher mind? You can say whatever you want. You have your free will.
Yes, I can, but remember, I'm also doing a job that I chose to do with my passion and my free will. And part of the job is helping to reflect to you what your higher mind is saying so that you can get more used to communicating with your own higher mind using us as an example. It's simply part of my job description.
But people's mind that listen to you thinks the same. Their higher minds are the same.
On a basic level, the principles are all the same. But no, there are, of course, differences in the way that you express yourself as a higher mind, as a physical mind. But remember, you gravitated to us vibrationally. You're asking us the questions, which means there is some similar vibration in your higher mind that can serve you by answering the questions you would ask of it.
So it's not exactly the word you say, but the meaning, the energy of,
Yes.
of our higher mind, not specific the words.
Sometimes specifically the words, but more often than not the energy. Remember, higher mind communicates with an energy language that you translate in your physical reality as passion, excitement, creativity, love. That's the language of the higher mind as you interpret it through your physical medium. But nevertheless, you have attracted yourself to us, which means there is a vibrational frequency within you that also is similar to the vibrational frequency within us and within your higher mind. So you have decided that, at least for right now, allowing us to represent the higher mind is the path of least resistance for you. Maybe you will change your mind tomorrow.
And in telepathy, when two people think the same, who gives the first one the words? Where do they come from if the two people thinking the same?
The words are everywhere. Remember, all knowledge is ensconced everywhere all the time, here and now. So when you're on a certain wavelength, a certain frequency, that means only certain words will be relevant to that frequency. And so both of you or all of you will think of those words at the same time because those are the words that go with the frequency that you're both on.
So
everything has a matching
already
frequency.
here.
Yes, of course, they're everywhere. Everything exists now, including words. Just because you don't think of them yet doesn't mean they don't exist.
Okay, I understand.
All right, does that help?
Yes, thank you. Can you just say to my hybrid children that I'm ready for them to land?
They have heard you and they will determine when the readiness is appropriate.
Okay, thank you. I love you very, very much.
Our unconditional love once again to you, Aveo.
Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. This is Sandra from Miami, Florida. I had a dream that I would like your insights on. On September 30th, in the middle of the night, I was awakened by a sensation of like being plugged into a current of electricity, so to speak. My whole body it felt like it was vibrating, and I was perceiving a presence of an ET, a male, and I just remember being afraid to look up into his face because I was kind of afraid of being afraid, which I guess is another belief I can take a look at. And I just wanted to know what truly happened in that moment, and if that sensation of electricity or vibration was my own resistance. Any insights would be appreciated. Thank you and good day.
Yes, sometimes spirit beings or extraterrestrial beings will vibrate at a level that allows you the practice to match it. So yes, you're always feeling only your own energy, even if someone is offering you a higher frequency to mirror or match. So they're giving you the opportunity to practice moving to a higher level so you can have more conscious awareness of the encounters and interactions that you're having with extra-dimensionals, extraterrestrial spirit beings, and so on and so forth. So don't be afraid of the energy. It's your energy, but it gives you an opportunity to expand yourself. All right, good day.
Hello, Bashar. Good day to you as well. It is an honor to speak with you today.
And you as well. What would you like to discuss?
All right. So in the last transmission, you told us a little something about the antiquity of yoga.
Yes.
Was it discovered, developed, or was it given to us?
It was intuited by those who were very, very close to the idea of nature and its forms and expressions of energy.
Okay. What can you tell us about the archetype Shiva? And was there a physical incarnation of Shiva on this planet at some time?
There have been physical projections that appeared to be physical incarnations, but weren't really incarnations in the classic sense. But archetypes can project physical representations that may seem very solid. So the archetype, again, is simply one of the ways that your collective consciousness has of looking at the concept of creation and destruction.
Okay. So Shiva is sometimes referred to as king of the yogis.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, again, because of the nature of the ebb and flow of energies being represented by certain yogic positions, and therefore at the very core or heart of the energy of the archetypal representation that you're calling Shiva. Because again, everything is about the ebb and the flow back and forth in different ways, in different forms, almost down to, or actually literally quite down to, the idea of atomic structures. Because as you have relatively recently in your history, in your evolution, started representing the idea of how atoms are structured and electron clouds are structured, there are different forms that are representative of lobes, spheres, toruses, and things like that, that are more representative of the probabilities of the existence of the structure of atoms and subatomic particles. And these also are representative of the idea of Shiva energy and yogic flow. Tapping into those electron structures can actually allow someone to intuit different positions in the body that allow for the most efficient superconductive flow of electron energy and electromagnetic energy and electromagnetheric energy through your body. So this connects directly to the idea of the core of the ebb and flow of the archetype of Shiva, because it is, again, the positive, the negative, all flowing into one another in a constant dance of creation and destruction.
All right. And what about Krishna?
What about Krishna?
So like, say like Shiva and Krishna are both often depicted with blue skin. And so I know that there's that thing with the Anunnaki.
Yes, and that's why that depiction exists. Because again, they are considered archetypal gods, and the Anunnaki in their time were considered gods as humanity, as Homo sapiens understood them at that time. And some of that recognition has been handed down through genetic memory, that at one time your so-called gods actually did have blue tinted skin. And therefore, in certain cultures, that genetic memory remained and was applied to the archetypal representations of gods.
Right. Okay, great. So a question, another one about the Anunnaki. So they came here, created Homo sapien from the native Sasquatch.
No. Not from Sasquatch. Remember, created Homo sapiens from early hominids. The hominids that were not genetically altered to become Homo sapiens evolved into Sasquatch, became a different branch of the hominid. So it's not that they took Sasquatch and created Homo sapiens, they took an early hominid that eventually became Sasquatch on its own without the genetic alterations. Very different.
Okay. So when they came here and created Homo sapien,
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens, and then they left, but did they then come back?
Some of them came back, but the ones that came back were not the ones that were here initially, because the ones that created Homo sapiens did so outside of their laws. So they were recalled. So the ones that came back, along with others, were ones who now knew they had some responsibility for the creation of Homo sapiens because their brethren had created them outside the law, and therefore knew that they had to provide some guidance to set Homo sapiens on a path that would allow them to evolve.
Okay. And so did they come back like during Atlantean times?
Yes, sometimes, although again, there were more species involved than just the Anu, who were evolving out of their present form and evolved into the beings that now occupy the Lyran systems and the Pleiadian systems.
Okay. And so about Lao Tzu, what was he connected to, and who was he? There's not very much that we know about him.
Connected to the consciousness of an archetypal form you recognize in your reality as the dragon energy. This is a level of being that exists in another dimension that is often interpreted as the form of a dragon in your reality, even though that's nothing like what they actually look like in their own reality. But Lao Tzu was connected very strongly, not the only connection, but connected very strongly to the dragon dimension, so to speak, just to use a term.
Okay. And in the Tao Te Ching, he describes the ancient masters. And so I was just wondering to whom he's referring to.
People that you don't remember in your history that have existed throughout the ages. Again, some of what we were talking about before, of different spirit beings choosing incarnations to come to you and let you all know that you are equal to them.
Okay. So there was one point in the Tao Te Ching where Lao Tzu says, like in referencing the Tao, he says, "I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God."
The Tao is God. Nothing is older than God because older is just a concept. Remember, all things exist. There is no beginning and no ending to all that is. It just is. And Tao is a part of it. The only way that it could be, in a sense, from a linear perspective, quote unquote, older than God, is he was simply recognizing that it is part of the one. But the one is unbroken, homogeneous, and has no awareness and no experience. All that is the portion of the one that does know itself as all that is. So if you want to euphemistically say, well, the idea of the Tao is older than the portion that knew itself as all that is, you can make a sort of linear extrapolation that has some truth to it, in the sense that if you take it all the way back to the one, then yes, of course, everything in that sense is older than God, because God comes from the one too. But that's just more like wordplay than anything else.
Okay. So like in the Kabbalion, they use the word God to refer to, or to describe, the masculine principle, and then the universe as the feminine principle, and then as one described as all that is. So that's like...
Yes. Well, to us, there may be differences in terminology. All that is the portion of the one that knows itself as all that is. The one has absolutely no knowledge of itself, no awareness of itself, no experience of itself, because it has nothing to compare itself to. All that is knows itself, has a self-awareness, because it is also aware that there are other aspects of itself that make it seem as if there is something other than itself, which is the only way you can know yourself, is if there is seemingly something other than yourself to compare yourself to.
Okay, so I've heard you describe a particle in a vacuum with nothing to impose upon it, moving at infinite speed, so it's everywhere at once, hence
Prime radiant. The prime radiant in our ancient language, but in your scientific jargon, it's called the single electron theory. You can look it up.
Okay. And so I was just wondering, like, could you consider the particle to be the masculine and the vacuum or the void to be the feminine?
If you want to. These things are just labels. If it works for you to do that, go ahead. But that doesn't mean it's an accurate representation of what it actually is.
Yeah, well, that's definitely what I'm looking for, is an accurate representation.
Then it's just all that is. That's all it is, because all that is everything. Masculine, feminine, neutral, whatever you want it to be, it is.
Okay,
It's existence itself.
Yeah. All right, I will have a think on that.
No, all right. By all means, have fun doing
that. So when Lao Tzu speaks about Wei Wu Wei, doing, not doing, where the poem writes itself when we give ourselves over to the moment,
yes,
is this essentially like what you've described as the channeling state?
Yes. Because when you are following your passion, when you're in that vibration, when you're in the channeling state, whatever you wish to call it, you do a lot, but it seems like you're not really doing very much, because you're in sync, you're in harmony, you're in resonance with your true self, and actions are effortless, actions are joyful, and it doesn't seem like you're expending any effort. So it doesn't really seem like you're doing anything, because there's no resistance.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Aveo.
Aveo.
Hey, Bashar, this is your friend Teresa from Long Beach, California, and I was wondering if you could discuss the 12th house sun in astrology, where a person may have their ego in a blind spot, they may have self-awareness issues, and I was hoping that you could delve into that theme a little bit. Also, can you tell us how modern astrologers may work with some of the bodies we're not as familiar with, such as Koyawar, Varuna, and Sedna? Thank you.
The idea simply is, overall, Remember that astrology is a reflection permission slip. Astrological positions don't cause things to happen, they reflect things that are happening in the overall consciousness. Whatever energies you may assign to the smaller bodies in your solar system, like Sedna, you will determine among yourselves for whatever you think it represents first, before we are able to comment on it. And the idea of going into astrological houses and so on and so forth, again, is just another way of presenting archetypal energy in a manner that works for different belief systems and different cultures on your planet. We cannot necessarily at this point go more deeply than that into this particular concept.